Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Forex Breezio here, 1:30 p.m. on Thursday, October 5th. And I hope everybody's doing well. Quick video here. So I made one about, 2 nights ago regarding kind of what I consider my, quote, perfect futures setup for the S&P and Nasdaq futures. And hold on one sec, guys. Sorry about that, guys. He caught me right chewing on something right before I hit record. That's my bad. Anyways, we kind of had that setup going again today on both markets, so I just wanted to draw this out. And you can go back and watch the video I made the night before last to get an idea. Now, price is now coming back up now. But there was a nice little short-term drop down to some support. And so I just wanted to draw those out really quick. So here's the NQ. This is the Nasdaq futures. So this box right here, this is the 15-minute chart. This box right here represents the zone that, again, started late yesterday. This is kind of where I look for it. Late yesterday. So this was around... Well, this was about noontime yesterday, and I run it all the way through until just before the open today, which was right here. And if I see kind of like a defined range, which we do right here, I'll draw a box around it, and I'll look for an entry, definitive entry on a break above or below this box. And so we did get one today right here, and price proceeded to drop 118 points on the NQ, which is a pretty nice drop. And it's not exactly a day trade because you'd have to have been out of it by now, otherwise you'd be back to about break even. As you can see, price as we're speaking here is going up. But you can see, depending where you're targeted, this would have been a really good area right here. This last swing low down here, which also kind of lines up to the left with some resistance and support areas over here, back around the 140, the 14,740, 750 area, and that actually did hold. Now, this could turn around and just keep going down this afternoon as we head into the afternoon. I don't know, but I'm out of this now anyways, but I did take this and I got out. I got out right about here. I did give a little bit of it back because I wasn't really watching that closely. I actually expected this to go a lot further. So, but like I said, this is really a day trade, so maybe I really shouldn't have expected it to go any further. Potentially there could be a re-entry short. I don't know. If I extend this box over, you can see we're coming back up and retesting this breakout area as resistance. But I'm not going to be overly eager to jump back into this, especially the time of day. But I did want to point this out. That's all I really wanted to point out was the setup. And again, what I do again is I use, depending on which instrument, the Nasdaq or the S&P, they usually both have about the same setup. Is I look anywhere between, say, the 10-minute to the 30-minute chart, and I'm looking for a zone, a range that sets up a pretty clear sideways range that sets up from the afternoon of the previous session, after 12 noon, when things tend to start quieting down a little bit, especially if there's no news catalyst to really move it in the afternoon. And you can see that is what happened yesterday. Price just kind of chopped around yesterday afternoon, went down a little, went back a little. It just really didn't make any progress from this high over here. And then we went into the night session, then went down, then went up, but we held this high right here. We held this low down here from yesterday, and we created this very clear range that broke out. And we had the same setup on the S&P, which was right here. This range, this one didn't go as far. You can see on the breakout, it didn't go quite as far. So again, not an A+ setup, but it's certainly something to keep an eye out, and these do usually work. Now, what is really nice is when you get a continuation, it kind of goes the whole day in one direction, but we didn't really get that today. And so, hey, that happens, but you take what you can get. Price does appear to be moving back up now. Certainly here on the S&P, we've now moved past the original entry point I didn't take the S&P when I took the Nasdaq one. As I mentioned, I prefer to take the if there's a setup on both, I prefer the Nasdaq because there's more bang for the buck in terms of the point value that you can get on a move versus the S&P. So again, if I see the equal setup, then I would prefer to take it on the Nasdaq, which is what I did. And the Nasdaq is still just approaching this resistance area. So we'll see what happens. I'll keep an eye on it, but like I said, I'm not too eager to jump back into this anyways. If we zoom out a little bit and just take a look at the bigger picture, this whole thing is moving inside of a range here. This is the 4-hour chart. You can see we're moving inside this whole big range right here. So not really a defined direction right now, even on the longer term chart. So anyways, but I just kind of wanted to leave it there. The other one that I took, which I should have held it, but this is natural gas. And I just play around with this one a little bit. But natural gas fundamentally, there's a lot of news reports about inventories being low, kind of persistence reports about natural gas inventories being a little on the low side, which of course if you think about it heading into winter, colder months where natural gas usage goes way up for heating, that would be a concern, and so that's really what's pushing price higher. So this was earlier in the session. This is the 15-minute chart. This particular instrument tends to start moving earlier than the New York Open, usually around, I've noticed, about 7 a.m. New York time, which is about 12 o'clock on my broker platform. So right here is 12 o'clock, right there. And you can see that is what it did. It broke out way higher. So this particular instrument, and I exited, I'm ashamed to say, but I got out at this high right here. So I left about half the move on the table. But it's not something I trade a lot, so I'm still learning how this thing moves. It doesn't have the highest volume, so it can be really volatile. But anyways, a little bit different setup, but I suppose you could also say that this one had an overnight range right here. Okay, because this high back here occurred early yesterday, and then we went right into today. So we held this range during the overnight hours, and we pushed right into that at the New York Open, and then we went. So this was another potential one, although this is a pretty wide range. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out, but just getting back to these two. Again, here's NASDAQ and here's your S&P. And we had this nice little downside breakout back into a support area or a demand area for these supply and demand traders. But again, these are designed to be day trades. I would say you'd probably have to classify these more as scalps because they just didn't last very long, which isn't ideal. Again, I would have loved to see some follow through and have this thing come all the way down to these lows down here by day's end, but it doesn't look like it's going to do that unless, of course, we turn from here, which is possible. And like I said, I will keep an eye on it, and if it looks like we're going to get some bearish price action back down, I may enter for a late day trade, but it's, the thing is, it's not going to make it all the way down here by the end of the day today, even if it does turn back down. That's just too far to go with the time the market is still open today, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so I just want to leave it there. And this is a really good criteria to meet before you enter trades like this, to just look for that clear consolidation heading into the New York Open. And, like I said, go back and start your range view from the previous day's action in the afternoon, particularly after 12 noon, anytime from about 12 noon on. If you can really define a sideways range, that's a really good thing to draw a box around and keep an eye out. And just like I said, be careful for false breakouts. Wait till the New York, wait until at least, well, you don't have to wait till the New York Open, but wait until at least 7 a.m. New York time. Anywhere between about 7 and 8:30 anywhere between about 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. New York time is when, if these breakouts are going to happen, when they do. So this is definitely when you have to be on the chart a little bit earlier, depending where you live, because this one could certainly happen before the New York financial markets open. All right. So, yeah, so that's it, guys. I will leave it there. Any questions, comments, please leave them down below. And smash that like button if you like the content. Like I said, any questions, leave them below. And hit that subscribe button if you're just finding it for the first time. But I wanted to point that out because this is the second such setup we've had this week. Like I said, you won't get this every day, but you will get it probably at least a couple of times a week. And they're good to kind of sit on your hands and wait if this is the type of trade you're looking for, which again is designed to be hopefully a day trade, but like as this one shows, maybe was just a scalp, but still a pretty decent scalp on the Nasdaq. So, all right, guys, have a good rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon.